Hey, what's going on? This video is going to share with you how two of our advanced 85 racers were practicing sections last summer in 2019. Both of these riders were preparing for the Amateur National Finals at Loretta Lynn's. They are 12-year-old Luke Fausier and 15-year-old Gavin Towers. Luke raced the 65, 10 to 11 stock and mod classes at Loretta's, racing for the Orange Brigade team. That's the KTM amateur team. Gavin raced the Super Mini 1 and Super Mini 2 classes at Loretta's, racing as a privateer sponsored by his parents. You will see Luke practicing on a 65 as well as an 85 because he had already been preparing for this year, 2020. You'll see Gavin mostly on a Super Mini and a little bit on a 125 as he also had been practicing for 2020. Gavin has been working with my certified instructor, David Kilgore, for several years. David has been Luke's riding coach for just several months. David is also my stepson. Just a few weeks after I finished shooting this video, Luke made massive cornering improvements on his entry, transition, and exit speed. These improvements showed with first and second overalls at the Loretta Lynn's Amateur National Finals. I began editing this video in March of 2020. That's over 7 months after this video footage was shot. In 2019, Luke won 4 major amateur championships and won so far in 2020. Luke extended his Orange Brigade contract for 2020 and 21. Gavin Towers also won 4 major amateur championships in 2019. As of March 2020, he has already clinched another title. Gavin signed a 2-year deal for 2020 and 21 with Monster Energy Team Green Kawasaki. Both of these racers have proven themselves as 2 of the fastest amateurs in their respected age groups. How do the top pros you see on TV and social media get so fast? Believe me, they are way faster than you think they are, just by watching them on a screen. The best way to get a true measure of just how fast they are is to be on your bike, on the track, with them. As the bikes and tracks evolve, so do the riders. Each generation, about every 10 years, learns and improves from the previous generation. The most important thing for a motocross racer is practice and racing time on the bike. Once a rider has developed all the proper riding techniques, his practice days consist of hammering out motos, sprint laps, and practice drills, also known as practicing sections. In this video, you'll get an inside look at how Luke and Gavin were practicing sections. They are working on being able to control more speed. I will point out most of the key techniques they are using that enables them to carry and control so much momentum and hopefully gain more of that highly sought after ingredient, speed. Jumps are for show, corners are for dough is a good reminder that you can gain or lose more time in corners than you can on jumps. Other than Supercross, motocross racers practice corners more than they practice jumps. When advanced riders do practice jumps, they mostly work on staying low, scrubbing. In this video, you will see more corner practice methods than jumps. As I mentioned before, these 2 top amateur riders have already programmed all of the 55 absolute techniques of motocross into their automatic riding style. As they are practicing corners, they are working on the 3 parts of a corner, which are more entry, transition, and exit speed. Remember, the transition is where they go from controlling braking speed to controlling acceleration speed. This means controlling the clutch, rear and front brakes, and then controlling the clutch and throttle. Of course, the gear shift is also controlled when needed. The other factors of control are body positions and movements. Let's begin to pick these three sections of some corners apart so you can see exactly what these riders are working on that allows them to control so much speed. A good motocross track is loaded with rutted corners, so that's what these guys need to work on the most. In order to carry a lot of entry speed, they need to keep the throttle on deep into the corner before they begin braking. As they shut the throttle off, they begin braking hard. Since they are still carrying speed, they leave the clutch out, engaged. This helps them use the rear brake as hard as possible without locking up the rear wheel. This is the most efficient braking they can get out of the rear wheel. This also allows them to use the front brake as hard as needed. That's because the rear wheel is pulling the front wheel back and to the inside when they begin leaning the bike into the corner. Okay, so this is what's happening as the throttle shuts off. This is when the clutch, front and rear brakes come into play. Most times they will be standing as they begin braking. I said leave the clutch engaged, leave it out. But why do I say control the clutch, rear and front brakes? That's because as they get to the transition, many times the clutch will need to be disengaged. One reason is as they slow down more and more, they may need to disengage the clutch to keep from stalling the engine. More about the clutch at the transition and exit later. So far, we know that in order to carry a lot of entry speed into a corner, they need to stay on the throttle a long way down the straightaway as they approach the corner. Then, as they close the throttle, they need to begin braking hard with both brakes. Since they are still carrying speed into the transition, they need to keep controlling the brakes. This is where it gets tricky. Once the front wheel checks into the rut, the rear brake is no longer necessary. Now it's the front brake that is needed to continue slowing down. Since they are still carrying speed, they need to lean the bike to match this speed. They are programming stronger and stronger reflex reactions through their sensory perception to control the front brake as needed. Then, once they reach the transition, they begin using the throttle as they release the front brake. Many times, the clutch is also used in order to deliver the power to the rear wheel just how and when they need it. Of course, the front brake, throttle, and clutch are not the only things they are working on. Other big factors are the sensation of speed and all the factors of their body positions and movements. More about the clutch. Yes, sometimes the clutch will be disengaged through different parts of the corner while braking and or accelerating. Many times, just for a second or less, when braking, there is some engine braking going on. Of course, this is more noticeable on a four-stroke. When these racers sense they are slowing down too much, they will not only let off of the front brake, but sometimes also disengage the clutch. Again, this is only for an instant. The same thing can happen after the transition, when beginning to exit the corner. This is when they sense they are moving too fast. By disengaging the clutch, it will cut the power more quickly to the rear wheel than just by closing the throttle. These 5 controls, the clutch, throttle, gear shift, front and rear brakes, have become hardwired into their hands, fingers, and feet. Feeling them and controlling them has become as sensitive and controllable as feeling and controlling their hands, fingers, and feet. Now that they are carrying a lot of speed into the corner, The next and most important part of the corner comes up, the transition. Most advanced racers can carry a lot of speed into a corner. What separates the good from the best racers takes place at the transition. Carrying speed and momentum through the transition and making it look seamless is a fine art. It takes very precise control and timing of the clutch, front brake, and throttle. Of course, controlling the lean of the bike and maintaining the center of balance with a proper body position and balance also has to be on point. Just like the entry speed has to blend into the transition, exit speed must also be smooth and seamless with the transition in order to carry that speed and build more speed as they exit the corner. A few key factors have to be executed. Number one, as they release the front brake, they need to deliver the right amount of power to the rear wheel with the throttle. Depending on the corner, many times it will be with the clutch and throttle. Of course, they will have to continue controlling the power all the way out of the corner. In long, fast ruts, the clutch is usually not necessary. Number two, at the transition, and especially out of the transition, they need to weight the outside foot peg in order to drive their upper body forward to exit the corner. Riding with a low center of gravity is a huge benefit. When the rut has acceleration bumps, and they usually do, weighting the outside peg and weighting the inside peg as soon as possible will save them from a butt beating. As I mentioned, the 5 controls, the clutch, throttle, gear shift, front and rear brakes, have become hardwired into their hands, fingers, and feet. Their sensation of speed, eyesight, and feeling what the bike is doing has also become hardwired into their sensory perception. Their eyesight has developed a skill to slow down motion and acutely notice and remember every 10 yards of track in front of them. Welcome to the realm of total flow concentration. This is where the magic begins. This is where the rider and motorcycle become one. I hope this video gets you one step closer to the ultimate dirt bike experience, the feeling that you are one with the bike.
What we did on the track today, we did a lot of corners and working on techniques. The way I got into racing was because I started to do pretty good, so we noticed the bigger races, and we tried out for the first year at Loretta Lynn's, and I made it, and yeah, I pretty much took off from there. My short-term and long-term goals. My short-term goal is to get better and to get like a team going for like motocross. My long-term goal is to be a pro motocross rider and make a lot of money. The people who have helped me along the way is Dave Kilgore, Gary Semix, KTM Orange Brigade. They have all the sponsors, everything pretty much that helps out with dirt bikes and motocross.
Today we worked on a couple corners, this one right-hander and then a different left-hander, and we put in some lines on the big track and then put some lines on the corner track. Started off, I was riding this electric dirt bike and then up and down the gravel road, and then off from there I wanted a real one, and then just got into it from 4 years old, and then now here we are, almost 15. I got into racing from more just, I liked riding my electric dirt bike, and then my uncle was into it, and then the path to get here was pretty awesome, a lot of fun, a lot of different trips, couple injuries along the way, but nothing too major, but it's pretty awesome. Short-term goals would be definitely to make it to Loretta Lynn's, and then long-term is train all summer and hopefully hold the #1 plate up at Loretta Lynn's. I had help from Dave Kilgore and Gary Semix, a couple different suspension companies, motor companies. Over the last couple months, I've had more sponsors come in because I've done a lot better. But over the years, it's just been more of my parents more than anything that have supported me throughout this.